And welcome to Small Business Today Magazine Talk Show on the SBT Magazine Radio Network. Good job, Michelle.
Yay, very good.
And I'm Steve Levine. I'm Executive Publisher of Small Business Today Magazine.
I'm Barbara Davidson, Associate Publisher, Creative Director, Head Writer of Small Business Today Magazine.
And that's just part of our job.
And this is our guests here.
These are our guests. We'll introduce them in a minute.
In a minute, okay.
Let's introduce the magazine.
All right, talk about
You
it.
want to hold it up, Barbara? You want to do that away here?
You're closer. I don't know. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Anyway, Small Business Today Magazine is both a hard copy and a digital edition. Its mission is to educate, motivate, inspire, and empower an aspiring entrepreneur or small business owner to achieve their dreams of big business success, with a very special focus on women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses,
and youth.
And we have
well, that's not a cover. It's not a cover honoree.
Not a cover honoree, but I said that's who the focus is.
Right.
Every magazine has a cover honoree, someone put by a nomination and unanimous vote by members of the Publishers Advisory Board. And the criteria for the cover has more to do with the quality of individual than the particular quantity of their sales or income. And the first and most important quality
is that they give back to the community.
Their philanthropy, indeed.
Exactly. That's the most important part.
And a great story that's inspiring to other entrepreneurs.
People that started with nothing and giving, building a good big-sized business without any monetary backing.
Exactly.
Is usually how it starts out.
Because we believe the more you do for others, the more successful you will be. It's one of the 3 pillars of success. The
Takeaway notes. Takeaway notes.
I'm getting there. Stop
okay,
already.
hurry.
Oh, it's not your turn.
It's my turn.
The last page of the cover story is a what, Barbara?
It's the takeaway notes. They're the do's and don'ts of business. I was the one that created it.
My idea.
Yeah,
I gave it to her.
You should have brown eyes by now because he is so full of. Anyway.
You're embarrassing me, Ashley. Stop that.
Anyway, it's the takeaway notes or something I came up with. So let's say you don't want to read the whole story about where they grew up, how they got started, and all those kind of things. But if you wanted to get the gems of their business, the best words of advice, it would be no different than you cornering your mentor, your person that you really respect in business, and getting them to sit down with you and tell you their best words of advice. And I say if you go to the archives of every story and go to the end of every cover story, you're going to be able to see everyone's ideas and takeaway notes. And I say if there's a duplicate, you start putting a star next to each one that's a duplicate, and you want to incorporate that into your everyday business practices. I say it's kind of what's a clue look like.
Exactly. Some are very common, like giving back.
Like giving back, right.
The buck stops with you, and you service your customers, and they'll service your clients.
And treat your employees like they're partners.
Exactly. So there's a lot of great information that's in the pages of the cover story. Most like to read. That's what makes it international must-read, is people like reading success stories. It's kind of like a people magazine for small business, if you will.
Right.
And we literally have 62,000 subscribers worldwide on every continent. And you can be one of those subscribers complimentary by going to sbtmagazine.net.
Or smallbusinessmagazine.com.
Either one will take you there, and we're going to launch our newest website.
The newest week. Because
and it'll be more content driven. You can search. I saw the search engine. You can type in networking, and all the articles ever published
on networking will be there.
4 years on networking.
Or we talk about Big Head, then it'll be every article about you.
Yeah, yeah, and people who know what we're talking about, that's you. Literally just join in when you can. But anyway, there's a search engine. We are putting together the calendar still, at least have our events on there, and then eventually all of our strategic partners will have one big master calendar for small business to go through, networking events and certification programs. And I do have a banner with the SBT cruise, the entrepreneur-ship.com, setting sail from Galveston, January.
Yeah, where's our little standing thing?
I forgot it again.
Oh, okay.
But SBT Magazine has a cruise leaving January 15th next year from Galveston for Cozumel, Grand Cayman, and Jamaica.
That's right.
And we will be networking in each port with other business leaders. Ashley already said she's on board. Networking in other ports with business leaders. We'll have exercises on the beach with personal trainers. We're going to have luncheon and dinner speakers, and we're going to
CEU. We're going to have continuing education classes. That, for example, April Day with the Women Business Enterprise Alliance is going to be doing a class called Transformational Leadership in conjunction with dealing with employee burnout.
Right.
It's a really good program.
So we've got a lot going on, and all that I think will be a banner on the website. Those things.
Champion School of Real Estate will be
Lunch and
giving an
Learn May
MC
17th,
class.
by the way, coming up. Mark your calendars. That will be Hank Moore.
Hank Moore.
Author. He's a corporate strategist and futurist. And his new book and his previous book, his new book is Pop Icons and Business Legends.
Yes.
And his first book
Sounds like Popeye every time you say that.
know.
Iron Popeye.
I didn't come up with the title, he did. But Business Legends, Barbara and I were recognized in both books, and the first book has been nominated for a Pulitzer Prize.
Isn't that awesome?
So Hank Moore will be speaking at the International Trade Center. That's a sponsored lunch, so at no cost, even though Wade Lee says there's no free lunch, this one he's paying for.
That's nice.
And that's
International Trade
11
Center.
a.m. on Tuesday, May 17th at the International Trade Center.
And how can people make
1110.
reservations?
They can email me at steve.levine@sbtmagazine.net, and I'll save you a seat personally.
How about that?
All right?
Okay, now.
Now, on to our guests. We have two guests today. You know,
First, let's introduce ladies first.
ladies first. Okay.
Linda Newcamp.
She's no stranger to the show.
No,
Everybody
she's
should
been.
know her
I
already.
know.
Right?
And Linda had on the most phenomenal Pan-African Women's Empowerment Summit.
Empowerment Summit.
It was really a fantastic, with great speakers and a great cause. I think it was sponsored by Spain. Was that correctly? Had something to do with the promoting it, the civil rights for women. Was that something to do with the country of Spain? Wasn't it?
Not bad. You talking about one of the sessions?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
The one of the sessions. Work
women
with Spain.
in
Okay,
yes.
That was interesting that they sponsored that particular that meeting. That was really fascinating.
We were proud to be part of it as a sponsor and attend some of the workshops and the special programs. And we did a 3-hour remote broadcast that day, and with
Bernard Katompa and his lovely wife Fifi. He's running for the presidency of the DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo.
Right.
We had Nandelica Mandela from South Africa. Her grandfather's Nelson Mandela, and she has a foundation that's helping
and
to.
her daddy's name, I think.
Yes. What's her daddy's name?
Mbakele.
Dimbakele Mandela.
The name of the
And it's in his honor to help empower young women with their issues that they
furnish them with feminine hygiene products and things they don't have.
that would
These
keep
young
them from
ladies.
going to attending school, which is the
Right.
most important thing. And then of course we had the Minister of Home Affairs and Immigration with Namibia, and the Director of Education with Namibia.
So we had three
Namibia.
major countries. I felt like 60 minutes. I didn't feel like
It was really a great opportunity to meet some fantastic. And then I didn't get to meet the lady that was the head of that y'all brought in. Who was that? Was the main person that was introduced and was.
Oh, the Speaker of Mozambique.
Mozambique, yes.
She
What
don't
is
have
her
an
name?
Mm-hmm.
Interpreter, didn't she?
Veronica.
Veronica.
Her Excellency.
Her Excellency Veronica
Makoma.
Makoma.
Well, you had some heavy-duty people there, I'll tell
It's
you.
really phenomenal. And now talk about your background real quick. Tell everybody how you got involved in all this.
Okay, well, I think the main platform that set it up to deal with the international relations is working with the mayor's office, MITDC Africa. So I participate as chair.
And how long you been there?
I think I've been involved with the mayor's office since 2012, but I didn't officially join them until 2014.
At least 3 or 4 shows ago. I remember that.
Yes.
Been on our show several times,
she's
so she knows how it
doing
works.
an excellent job. And now you have the special event that's coming here. And,
Yes, with Sweet Crude Reports.
Sweet Crude Reports. And we have Hector Ikbikiawubo. Is that all right?
Close it up.
Ikbikiawubo. And he's the founder and executive director for Sweet Crude. And he's written over 2,000 energy stories and analysis published in local and international newspapers and newswire services. His knowledge stems from his past employment with Shell Nigeria and his extensive experience with Vanguard newspaper and Business Day newspaper. He co-authored Nigeria Sweet Crude in 2006 and authored Scarlatti Affair in 1995 and Make We Talk 1998. And he's attended several seminars and conferences as well as short courses both within and outside Nigeria, while also presenting papers on a wide range of issues pertaining to energy reporting and appearing on radio and television programs within and outside Nigeria.
And Small Business Today magazine.
Previously.
Right.
And so we're very, very happy
it's
to.
a good time you wanted to come back.
I know, we're happy to have you. That
He's
have
FTV head. He is.
Steve's crazy.
We got to go to break, but
We will be back. We're going to talk about the NCIF when we get back.
which is scheduled for this coming Monday.
That's
May 2nd.
right.
And that's at the Houstonian Hotel.
Yes.
And we'll be doing a live remote broadcast there. 4 o'clock on Monday. So more about that later.
And then people can find out about it online?
Yes, at www.ncif.com.ng.
There you
Wonderful.
go.
Thank you.
And we'll be back after these messages, and you're listening to Small Business Today Magazine Talk Show
On the
SBT
SBT Magazine Radio Network.
Hello, I'm Paul Marcus, owner of Affordable Searches, your premier investigation company specializing in comprehensive background checks nationwide. Business owners know one of the most important things to do is the hiring of employees. However, if you make mistakes or you don't check them out thoroughly, this could lead to problems. Some of the problems may be unsafe business environment, possible violence in the workplace, negligent hiring, lawsuits, and a turnover of employees. Our website has a wealth of information for you to read and learn how to run the correct background checks. We are also available for free consultations at 1-877-685-6691. Visit our testimonials page to see what our current customers say about us.
And welcome back to Small Business Today Magazine Talk Show
On the SBT Magazine Radio Network. I wasn't ready.
Do you want to do that again, Barbara?
No, I don't think so.
You're kind of busy over there. Will you just please come back to us and get with the show? Thank you. I appreciate you being here with us.
Thank you.
Anyway,
didn't
we are
confer
back,
with me.
and we have two very special guests. Both have been on the show before. Linda's been on twice before. And Hector, this is his second visit.
time too.
He liked it so much. He had such a good time listening to your jokes, which I don't enjoy, but he might have. And so he's back with us. And he's got a big conference coming up this coming Monday, which we're doing a remote broadcast from at 4 o'clock at the Houstonian Hotel. And it's at their investment forum. Yes?
Yep.
Yes.
That's right.
It is.
So we have an ad in the magazine for that, don't we, Barb? Yeah.
I think we do.
Yes, we do.
Is it right here?
Might as well stand it up.
Okay, let's do that. Let me find the ad. You
Last
found it real
page.
last page. Well, thank you
Well,
then.
Hector, tell us a little bit about this conference and why, this forum, and why you're holding it, who will be there, and all that kind of stuff. There you go.
Well, the last time I was here, we talked about the reason for the NCIF. Basically, it's a platform set up to get OEMs, original equipment manufacturers,
Okay.
operating from out of Houston, to meet with small and medium enterprises operating in the oil and gas industry in Nigeria, looking to collaborate. Before now, we had a situation where every OTC, a lot of companies from out of
And
Nigeria,
for those who don't know, Offshore Technology Conference.
the Offshore Technology Conference, a lot of companies from out of Sub-Saharan Africa, out of Nigeria, attend the OTC, and they mill around like tourists. They end up going back to Nigeria or Sub-Saharan Africa, wherever it is they've come out of, without striking any value-added collaboration.
And that's a waste of time to come all that way for such a
it
big
is
conference.
A waste of time.
That's just terrible.
So we decided to put this platform in place to get those original equipment manufacturers who are looking to take advantage of business opportunities in Sub-Saharan Africa and Nigeria in particular, to meet the SMEs, oil and gas SMEs, within a specific framework. And in this instance, we have the enablement of the authorities in Nigeria, like the Nigerian Content Development Monitoring Board, the NNPC, and even PETAN, the Petroleum Technology Association of Nigeria.
And what's NNPC?
The NNPC is the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation.
Okay.
It's a national oil company with over 40 billion barrels in oil reserves.
Wow.
Billion?
Basically, when you have that kind of enablement, it's as high as it comes. So the OEMs that before now had concerns.
Now, OEM stands for?
Original equipment manufacturers.
Okay.
The OEMs that
Try to
had
keep up, are we?
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
the OEMs which had concerns before now about the integrity of the companies they're meeting with, have all of that taken care of. So.
Because who's vetting it? Who is doing the vetting of it to make sure that these are qualified individuals,
Good
companies?
question.
I was just about to ask that.
Yes,
See, I
that's a
was.
good
But she
question, though.
just beat me to it, that's all.
The NCDMB
Stands
doing
for
that.
National.
Like I said, the NCDMB is the Nigerian Content
and
Development Monitoring Board.
Board. Okay.
You know, so we have the full complement of the board participating actively in the NCIF, and they'll be guaranteeing the SMEs participating at the event.
Wonderful. And how are plans coming for this one? How many attendees you have, and how many registered, and that sort of thing?
We have 15 SMEs, oil and gas SMEs, vetted and pre-qualified to participate. At the last count, we had registered 12 serious-minded original equipment manufacturers who are participating. We have the registration process is still open. Apart from those who have been vetted by the board to participate, we have strays.
Yes.
I call them strays because they've not been vetted by anyone. But they have pedigree, they have a history, they've been on ground, so they have a profile. You can check them out easily. They too will be participating. On that front, we don't have any given number. I think they're anywhere around 16 or 20. You know, so we will have quite a number of SMEs. Everybody who is registering to participate from out of Africa represents a company. And at the moment, we have been able to register over 80 people, you know, who will be attending.
From Africa.
From Africa.
Yeah.
You know.
And so who do you want to be attending this on this end in the U.S., not just Houston, but anywhere in the U.S.? Whom do you wish to be attending?
We expect original equipment manufacturers. We expect to see financiers, angel investors, those who have deep pockets to finance oil and gas projects. We expect those who even want information on how the industry functions, which is what. At the end of the day, information is key. You can't get involved in an industry if you don't have adequate information. So we expect all those who are enthusiastic about taking advantage of business opportunities in Nigeria in particular and sub-Saharan Africa to come along, participate.
Yes.
Now, and you have speakers for this event?
Yes, we have several speakers lined up.
Many.
We will have. We'll start with the the executive secretary of the NCDMB. He has a lot to tell us about what his board is doing, what they've been able to accomplish, what measures they've put in place to guarantee safe and effective participation of prospective investors. We'll be hearing from the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources. He also doubles as the Group Managing Director of the NNPC, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. He will be giving the keynote address. We expect to hear from the chairman of PETAN. PETAN is the Petroleum Technology Association of Nigeria. They have over 40 members with a combined portfolio in excess of 2 billion. So they're heavy hitters. They're deep pocket investors themselves. They're looking to snag whatever collaboration they can find out here, effective collaborations that add value to their businesses. We'll be hearing from the managing director of Snake Island Integrated Free Zone. They are owners of Niger Dock as well. The last time I was on this show, I told you about them. They have investments on ground in Nigeria in excess of $1 billion. That can easily be verified. We expect to hear from the board regarding the Nigerian Content Development Fund. They have in excess of $800 million in funding. At least they'll tell prospective OEMs looking to do business in Nigeria how to access the fund, what measures they have in place for the kind of collaboration they are looking to see between the original equipment manufacturers and the SMEs. We expect to hear from the board regarding the oil and gas park scheme. There's an oil and gas park scheme they've proposed. It will see the board making available to prospective investors land, and that's without any payments. If you indicate you're ready to invest, you'll be given land with certain other enablements. We expect to hear how that works, how that is functioning. We expect to hear from 2 other speakers. Linda has lined up. You want to tell us about them?
Mr. Eric Davenport, which will give a presentation more on the supply side, what the SMEs need to know as far as paperwork, documentation, and what they should look for, when they're looking for pipes, valves, and, how they should choose their distributors. We also have Mr. Edwin, I can't even think of his last name, Edwin Thomas, who will be giving a presentation on asset financing.
And our guests, are those the gentlemen, the guests on our remote broadcast?
One of them, Eric Davenport. And we also will have, welcomes from Honorable Sheila Jackson Lee and Councilwoman Amanda Edwards to welcome them to Houston to support the continued trade exchange between Houston and Nigeria.
Now, are these people here for OTC? Is this a separate forum?
Well, basically, these people will attend the OTC, but because for the first time we have a forum like the NCIF put in place, they are taking advantage of it because it affords them a better opportunity to reach
connections.
Yes, make the connections.
The right people. That's the main thing.
So
that's the security and knowing that who they're dealing with, again, have been vetted. And I think that's the key issue why deals weren't done in the past, because of the fear of the security of the credibility of the people they're dealing with. Right.
What's the business climate in Nigeria now beyond the energy industry?
The business climate in Nigeria is a mixed bag. In fairness, I'll be straight up with you. We have a situation where a new government came into being in May last year. That government is still having problems settling down, so to speak. I'd say problems settling down because as we speak, the 2016 budget hasn't been passed. That's straight up. At the NCIF level, we are committed to giving you information the way it is. The government on ground is doing its best, in fairness, to get things done right. In the past, any budget will have been passed. Mm-hmm. The president will assent to any budgets he gets from the National Assembly and say, well, it's all good and well, let's run with this. But we have a situation where the current government insists on doing things in a particular manner. So at the end of the day, the budget we pass has to be implemented to the letter. So we won't pass just any budgets. So I guess that's why we've seen the delay, and to fast track things and create the right perspective. Yesterday, the government came up to say it's even ready with the 2017 budget, provided this is gotten right. So it's about getting it right.
Right.
So back to the business climate. When you have a downturn in oil prices like you have now, mm-hmm. and you're dealing with an economy that is a mono economy, is totally dependent on oil, as it were, everything will be impacted. So we are hopeful that sooner than later we'll get out of low prices and the economy will pick like it should. But the climate is right. There are opportunities. If you don't have opportunities, you won't have companies still there doing business. Mm-hmm. So a lot of companies are still there doing business. A lot of companies are still coming in, and those opportunities will always be there.
And with our price of oil here and how it's impacted not only the energy companies, but all along down, it's like the domino theory. They all just keep falling down to the smallest level. Everything has changed. So anything that we can do to encourage the oil and energy and raising the price is going to obviously pay at the pump, but it's going to improve the economy all the way around. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
Good, yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Now, you mentioned the NCDMB. Wasn't there a change
in leadership?
Leadership, right?
Yes, there was a change in leadership. It's a confidence thing. The new administration, the Muhammadu Buhari administration, inherited the executive secretary they met on ground. And after 1 year, they appraised the situation, and in their own wisdom, they decided to change the executive secretary. Now, the current executive secretary was not brought from outside. The current executive secretary has been with the board for quite some time now. He was the most senior officer right after the executive secretary who was moved. So he simply walked into that role as of right. There is no gap. He understands the way the board functions, and in the last 2 months, he's acquitted himself well. He's doing well.
Oh, good. Tell me what your attendees, what kind of agenda is there? When does this start? We know it's at the Houstonian. Is there a particular conference room or?
Yes, at the Aspen Hall. At 3 o'clock.
At Aspen Hall, she said.
Aspen Hall.
Okay.
Yes.
At 3 p.m.
3 p.m.
They won't be skiing that day.
No, I figured that. Stop it. And they go on a
check-in. Well, they'll just check in.
Okay.
We'll guide them into the forum space, and probably about 3:15 we'll get started.
So like a general session first?
Yes, it is a general
Okay, it
session.
is a
I
general
want to say
session.
like in the first hour is the general session before it becomes actual technical. Then towards maybe the last hour, there's a time during the program where the OEMs are being paired with the SMEs.
That's
nice.
awesome.
That's nice. Now you have a keynote speaker,
Yeah.
and who's the keynote speaker again?
The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources. He also doubles as the GMD of the NNPC. That's the Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation.
And what do you think the main focus will be in his speech?
Nigeria is open for business.
Okay, y'all come, huh?
Nigeria is open for business. The opportunities are limitless, really.
I think so.
We have fuel supply and distribution challenges. The refineries have challenges. The oil industry, the upstream, has funding challenges. So in all the spectrum, from the downstream to the midstream to the upstream, there are challenges. And out here in the States, you have people with established pedigree, entities with established pedigree dealing with issues like that. Entities that have surmounted those kind of challenges. So there is no better time, to take advantage, come in and offer services to deal with those challenges.
Let me ask you a question. I know it's crazy. In oil, again, the prices of oil, I think it has a lot to do with who's in charge in politics, even probably in the government of the U.S. may have a lot to do with the direction of oil prices. Have, like certain companies, when they see that things are becoming less desirable, they start divesting in another industry. Have your country ever thought of taking and looking at ways to take money and develop patents for alternate fuel sources? Just crazy thing like that, just putting it out there.
It's happening. You know, they're building the agricultural industry right now. You have, who's that? Dangote, right? He's building factories in the north. And I'm trying to remember, there's the tomato factory where he's trying to have it where Nigeria no longer imports from China as far as tomato paste and tomato can. But, Nigeria has a vast amount of land.
Right. So that to utilize, I'm just wondering, to take
the pressure off
take the pressure of the oil, because in our case, Houston at one point was totally affected by the oil industry. In the 80s, we had a major problem. But now, because our medical centers are so strong, we have less pressure, less problems with our economy fluctuating. And so I wondered what they're doing there in Nigeria to also combat that issue.
Well, I know the agriculture, unless Mr. Hector can add more.
We can talk about that when we come back from break, but we got a couple people we need to thank first.
Right,
Barbara?
Right. We went Tony Now with AutoShopper.biz.
AutoShopper.biz, one of our supporting sponsors.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
lent us a car when our house flooded last year, not this year. This year flooded too.
Craig
And then Craig Klein, salesnexus.com. Has CRM, has a CRM program.
Put out 62,000
email marketing.
Subscribers at one time.
That's right.
And
then Paul Marcus with affordablesearches.com.
Instrumental in helping us find a rental house.
That's right. The background. He does background searches. So if you've got to vet an individual, he's a great person to find out.
Davis, engineer extraordinaire.
Jerome Davis, that's my son.
Mr.
Ronald Coleman, newswhip.com.
Make sure we got a great YouTube video.
And does more than just videography, too.
Puts in the commercials, makes us all look good. That's key, right?
I don't know if he can do that for you.
Well, I'll just say that about you. I was really worried about you. I know I'm looking good, damn. I know that. Anyway, we'll be back after these messages, and you're listening to Small Business Magazine Talk Show on the SBT Magazine Radio Network.
At Affordable Searches, our mission is to provide our customers with the most thorough background check possible to protect you, your employees, and also your business. We do so by contracting with companies across the country that provide us with the best information possible and in a quick turnaround time. Our turnaround times average anywhere from 24 to 48 hours. Our pricing is very competitive, and we are always here for you. We're always here to answer any questions you have. Please give us a call at 1-877-685-6691, and we'll be glad to answer each and every question that you have.
And welcome back to Small Business Today Magazine Talk Show
On the SBT Magazine Radio Network.
Again, I'm Steve Levine. I'm executive publisher of Small Business Today Magazine. In case you missed the beginning,
I could miss you anytime.
well, how can I miss you if you don't stay away?
I don't know.
And this is the lovely Barbara Davis Levine, and she's a creative director and co-host of this show.
And married to you.
That's also true.
It's sad.
Right?
It's sad.
And very mean to me all the time.
I know. I'm
Right.
mean.
And you're embarrassing me in front of my guests.
I'm
you know,
sorry.
that I can't
I'm sorry.
indeed.
And that's Linda Anukiam.
That's right.
And Hector Ikbikiowubo. And did I do that okay?
Is she getting any closer on that name? I'm so sorry.
I don't even try.
Yeah,
You don't even try? Oh, she doesn't even try.
That's all
Okay.
Linda knows is people with difficult names. That's all. So,
Well, we could say my Hebrew name. That would be fun.
right. And we're talking about the Nigerian content
Investment.
forum.
Right. Why'd we close this up?
Monday, you closed the magazine.
Did I?
Yes, this
I don't
coming
know.
Monday, May 2nd at the Houstonian Hotel,
3 p.m.
3 p.m. And that's for people who are interested in being on either side of the
Right.
energy industry.
And getting the connections, vetted connections in Nigeria. And that's what the Nigerian government is involved in, the security, the protection of the individual, the quality of who you're going to be dealing with if you really want to take it seriously and do business in the oil industry with Nigeria. This is a place to be, to make the connections. So for anybody that's going to the offshore OTC, I used to do modeling and those things in my younger days, but then this is a place you want to go if you're interested in being involved in the oil industry. You've got all kinds of connections there, and angel investors and land and government support. I mean, sounds like a
All-in-one.
slam dunk. I mean, really.
One-stop shop.
One-stop shop. So, do y'all work with any of the minority business supplier development councils? And have y'all reached out to them and getting involved with y'all?
The minor. Well, I believe Eric Davenport is connected in some way to the council because he's also registered with the mayor's office, the city. You know how they distribute contracts as well.
Right.
I think his business is considered one of the minority business.
Okay.
Would that be the Office of Business Opportunity? Would that be that office, you know?
I don't know how. What's the office called where they're distributing the contracts to city like
I'm sure it's
homebound
procurement.
businesses?
Yeah, I think it's probably minority procurement.
And then,
Okay, I see.
but also we have the Houston Minority Supplier Development Council.
But the Office of Business Opportunity was established to help minority-owned business and women-owned business and veteran-owned business go from idea stage, business plans, financing, right to certification to do business with the
Oh, I
city
see.
and their $4 billion budget. So, and that, as far as I know, Sylvester Turner is going to continue
That platform.
that project.
Okay.
And OBO works very closely with SCORE, the Service Corps Retired Executives, and HCC and their entrepreneur programs. I was just a sponsor last night of their business plan competition, and so they're out.
But also the HMSDC, I think, is definitely
Houston
needs to
Minority
be
Supplier
involved in
Development Council.
communicating with y'all about
Okay.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
We'll make sure
we connect.
we'll make sure I connect you with them because I think it's important that they will have sources like that are involved in the oil industry that maybe are smaller business or just getting off and they're making those introductions. So
That'll be fun.
It's kind of
We're gonna make that
interesting
connection.
expos they have, HMSDC and Women's Business Enterprise Alliance, kind of reverse trade show, because they're out trying to find minority business owners who are walking the show and there to learn about how to build and grow their minority businesses, but they're looking for those people to do business with versus the other way around.
We need to call April Day also and connect her with
Linda.
Linda too about this event.
Well, you have her home number, so
I do.
just
I
know
have
you
a
don't
mobile
need-
number. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. But that's Women Business Enterprise Alliance. So again, another group of dynamic people that we should be able to hook.
And they're on board with us
Right.
on the entrepreneurship cruise.
That's right.
Entrepreneur-ship.com cruise, where you can
That take place
get
in
your
January?
outside cabin right now. You can go ahead and book it. So, Michelle, you got the web address there. So just come on board. Anyway, but that's here to there. But the Nigeria Content Investment Forum sounds like it's got a lot of great information, and the key thing is the connections. Everybody wants those connections. Help me cut through some of the red tape. Tell me what I need to know to do business. And it sounds like it's going to be very, very profitable.
I think it's going to be very.
Profitable
Will be.
for all those who attend.
Will be.
So if you could construct the ideal scenario at the conclusion of this conference, what would it be? Everybody gets a piece of business, or everybody makes the right connections, or what do you expect to see?
What I expect
case.
to see, best case scenario.
No, I
will
asked
be,
you that.
What I expect to see, best case scenario, will be first off, better understanding
Okay.
of how things work in Nigeria. Improved confidence in the system, because there is when we go around trying to get people, entities here to do business in Nigeria,
Right.
we notice some measure of apathy.
Mm-hmm.
People, companies are a little skeptical. They're like, this is not on our radar right now.
Right.
I would rather sit back and watch. We don't want to go out there, but we want to sell stuff to people there.
Yes.
Now, for us, the world has become smaller. The world is constantly made smaller by technology. That's reality check. You have the Asians coming in to do business there. We are looking to, as much as possible, address the integrity issues. Sell a Nigeria that is open to business to people here. We want to grow confidence. So if at the end of this year's exercise we see improved confidence, we see improved collaboration, even if we're able to strike, we are able to get one original equipment manufacturer and one small and medium enterprise to even collaborate, then we will have succeeded.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
So
And
I think that's called realistic expectations. I think it'd be
but
at least
you take
one
one step at a time.
Yes.
And don't get. I mean, am I wrong in some of the reputation has been negative towards Nigeria because of there's been a cell of groups of scammers that have come out of there, that you'll get all these emails about you've won this money, and generally they've located the cell as based in Nigeria. I don't know if that has had any problems with the credibility factors going on, but I know that have you ever heard about all the different and I was been told because when I'd call and report them that it's a group, they can't stop them, and they're based in Nigeria. Is the government themselves aware of these things, and do you know if they're going after ones that are impugning the credibility and
Good question.
of your country? Because they say we can't do anything about them here, but are y'all doing anything about that? The factors are like that.
Well, that's a very good question, and I thank you for asking it. I'd say, first off, it takes two to tango.
Right.
You get an email from whoever, wherever, telling you he's coming to some great wealth from out of nowhere, and that if you can provide your account details, they want to transfer the funds and all of that.
I believed him. I did.
He had this lady.
It takes two to
But
tango, right?
he's naive. He thought there's a lady that was wanting to invest in a publishing
husband
company
died. I told you that.
and wanted to invest in a publishing company in the U.S.
Well, naturally, they
And
come to me.
he was so naive. I go, honey, this is a scam.
You're wrong. I know this woman. I could feel her pain. She needed me, and you didn't believe me.
And it was funny when he got a phone call. Had a very heavy voice, deep
Man's
voice.
voice. All right, there's some women with a deep voice. I was, Brenda Vaccaro, for instance. But yeah, it was a
That's too
scam.
funny. That's too
But I was
funny.
ready to get whatever she needed.
He thought this woman needed help.
I told you her husband died and left her a lot of money. I told you that. What are you laughing at?
But see, there are naive people like that truly, when it takes two to but some are totally not, when it comes to the internet, they are totally like oblivious that there are bad people out there looking to
There
scam.
must be a database of naive people.
A
I don't know.
scam artist is a scam artist.
Right.
You see, you have basic scams, and you should be able to smell it from a mile away.
Right.
Right. They play on your weaknesses.
Right.
They try to lure you with whatever it is they feel they can throw at you, and it's not limited to people in America.
Right.
You have even people in Nigeria fall prey to this kind of thing.
Sure.
Yeah. So.
Oh, yeah.
It's a problem even in Nigeria. The government, to the very best of my knowledge, started cracking down on it a long time ago.
Good.
But that hasn't stopped the scammers from devising new means
Oh, yeah.
of trying to get such scams going. They go to far-off countries, Malaysia, Indonesia, and other African countries, from where they operate, So
Yeah.
they do all of that. And that's why we welcome this new government with open arms. Because the new government has no stomach. It has zero tolerance for that kind of nonsense.
And it looks like they're being very serious-minded about having a realistic budget. That's so much that
Yes.
it sounds like
Yes.
they're serious.
Yes. Now, as of last week, the government decided to focus its searchlight on billionaire civil servants. You're working for the government and you own houses all over the place.
So
How
isn't
come?
that a conflict of interest?
It is. You're working for the government and you have money stashed in several banks that you can't explain. So there is a conscious effort to crack down on that kind of nonsense. And that is why when we decided to come up with the NCIF, we didn't do it on our own. We needed to get government involved, so that they can guarantee the fidelity of the process. Say, if you're dealing with company A or B or C under these auspices, then you're all good.
Then you know that you're dealing with legitimate,
Exactly.
vetted, like I said, vetted sources.
Exactly.
That you eliminate that question. Am I going to get scammed? And that's it. I mean, even my late father-in-law, bless his heart, got a phone call for somebody that claimed it was my son and needed him to send money because he was picked up in a DWI, and of all things, my son, we're anti-drinking and driving, but he was elderly. They looked on Facebook, found a name, and he just thought, he sounded funny on the phone, and did that. There are people that scam all the time, and whether it's local, because I'm sure this was somebody local, or international.
For some reason, Facebook or emails, whenever there's typos, it's just a dead giveaway.
Oh, I know, but they're
I don't
just...
know what, or it's just
Facebook is the biggest source of lots of scams going
Now,
on.
let me tell you about, when we even talk about scammers, Linda will tell you, I've had funny experiences trying to get the NCIF up and running
Right.
out here. I've been scammed by Americans.
Yes.
Horrible.
Yes,
Well, as I said, it's terrible.
No.
It's
I've
terrible.
been scammed by
Stop it
Americans.
now. Get out.
You know what I'm telling you.
They collect the
And
money and they don't do anything.
They collect monies up front and they do nothing and they just disappear.
Vanish.
and their numbers stop working, and I begin to wonder, I say, what's going on here? I've had that kind of experience. And,
Terrible. Or they were trying to get your flag, right? We just heard a new scam, right? They were.
There's a lot of games going on.
Someone was trying to say they were with this company.
It's a perception thing. It's really a perception
Crazy.
thing. So we must compartmentalize some of these concerns. It's not enough to say in a country where you have 180 million people, we receive. Somebody talks about a situation where he got a mail. He got a phone call, and all Nigerians are scammers.
No, that's true. That's true. Just
you have genuine Nigerian business people, who are contributing positively, not just to the growth of the Nigerian economy, but also to the growth of the American economy, effectively.
Absolutely.
So we must get past all of that stereotype.
You can't judge anybody. I said the people, some of the pastor that I respect greatly is based here, and he's from Nigeria. So we have some great leaders here, and that's the most important thing, is one can't judge any group by their color, their religion, their ethnicity. It has to do with the individuals. But when we have situations, we know there's areas that have a reputation. It's good that somebody such as yourself said, we're going to go over and above, and we're going to assure you this is a group that has got the veracity, the truth, the leadership through the government, and we are going to step up the plate and make those connections, and that's what y'all are about.
Exactly.
Now, tell me, there's certain contracts or things that were going on that in Nigeria and Shell Oil, there were projects. Can you elaborate the status of those projects that I heard about that weren't going through?
Yeah, well, Shell had the Bunga Southwest project, which was to be awarded. The final investment decision was to be taken. It's a $12 billion project. A lot of original equipment manufacturers, a lot of small and medium enterprises were looking forward to that project. And following the downturn in oil prices, Shell decided to put a hold on that project. It's not just in Nigeria.
Sure.
In several other countries, most of these oil companies, they put a hold on projects. They reevaluate those projects. Those projects were conceptualized and put on the table when oil prices were high.
Right.
And if you have a downturn in prices now, it's only natural that they step back to reevaluate
what makes sense. Exactly.
So that's what has happened.
We're about out of time, but we'll be Monday at the Estonian Hotel with a live broadcast from there, and we have several interviews, and we'll be at the forum. So,
Before we go, and we can just spread this out for a minute, is there anything that we haven't addressed that's important to say before we end the show today that we want to make sure we include?
Linda, you want to do? You have anything to say?
Well, I will say that the forum is definitely a business concentrated platform. It will definitely be informative, but it's a platform set up for serious minded individuals. Yeah, serious minded individuals. It's not one of those things where, are you coming to taste the good food or anything? It's not like that.
It's a place to get real deals done.
Yeah, exactly. And it's considered like a breakout session from OTC. Even the timing of it, that's when people are leaving the trade show.
It's exciting.
Today Magazine is proud to be a sponsor thereof, and we'll be there with a broadcast at 3 o'clock on
4 o'clock.
Monday. 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
I don't want to move it
I
to
don't
3.
know.
Well, the
I don't
forum
know.
starts at 3.
Forum starts at 3.
That's why. See, Linda messed me up. I'm telling you. But anyway,
Honey, you
one
didn't
more
need any
time,
help
gotta
with
get more
that.
Information
At
and
www.ncif.com.ng.
There you go.
CIF.com.ng.
And they'll be able to see the footage from last year,
There
just
you
to
go.
have an idea of what
Check it out.
what the
Be
forum is.
there and/or listen to our show on Monday. 4 o'clock.
Thank you so much for
No
being our
problem.
guest.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for being here. Been a pleasure once again. And you've been listening to Small Business Today Magazine Talk Show on the SBT Magazine Radio Network.